Paradise Lost, Hawaii's 20 Years of Failed Juvenile Corrections Reform. Hawaii's Youth Correctional Facility, also known as HYCF, has 3 secure units for rehabilitation for juveniles. The facility is located on Maunawili, near the city of Kailua, Oahu. It houses 71 beds and treats both male and female youths. This small facility has been plagued with issues surrounding staffing, training, abuse, and excessive use of force. These consistent problems, along with many others in the HYCF, have been recorded in special reports such as the Management Audit of the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, a report to the Governor and the Legislature of the State of Hawaii, the American Civil Liberties Union Report on the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, the United States Department of Justice investigation of the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, Kailua, Hawaii, and the Management Audit of the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, a report to the Governor and the Legislature of the State of Hawaii. Historically, the HYCF management and organizational structure did not have a clear central goal to guide staff and delivery services. The absence of a unified approach for the facility has resulted in friction and resistance by the institutional staff. For example, the 1986 audit stated that the goal was unclarified and thus personal expectations were blurred. 20 years later, in 2006, a newly designed focus was on rehabilitation. However, punishment still remains the primary focus for much of the custodial staff. The inconsistent institutional vision and mission contributes to a fragmented culture amongst the staff, affecting the provisions of services to youths under the care of the HYCF. Examples like the 1986 audit mentions the minimal time the psychiatric consults from the DOH spent at the facility resulted in limited interaction or teamwork with the HYCF custodial staff. In the 2005 U.S. DOJ report, it reveals a lack of communication between HYCF staff and the outside providers, as well as communication breakdown between the different outside providers themselves, impedes the delivery of proper care. Poor communication between the professional staff, such as the mental health, medical, and social workers, also created a barrier for proper care. This disjointed culture amongst the HYCF staff is perpetuated by the absence of a clear guiding vision from the institutional management, which influenced the over 20-year history of providing inadequate training to its custodial staff in the facility. In 1986, the type of training that the youth correctional officers, also known as the YCOs, had was in an adult correctionals model. It was built on the basis of security rather than to provide to youth services. Promotions came without training for supervisory responsibilities, and when the HYCF had $10,000 for training, it was used for overtime pay. By 2003, HYCF appeared inadequately supervised and assigned positions in which people were unfitted for. The failure of providing proper training for suicides was mentioned in 2005. In 2006, consistent training has not been provided on a regular basis. Many newly hired and senior staffs have not received revised training, first aid, CPR, AED refresher training, or any such consistent orientations for new staff. These can be vital because without that knowledge, the ward's safety is at risk. The lack of staff training not only affects daily safety measures, but also how staff interacts with the wards. Historical practices of excessive force against wards by staff resulted from the lack of training and are revealed in many of the reports. For example, in 2003, wards were physically restrained by being tied to chairs or other furniture. This type of abuse, along with others made by the staff, was often not disciplined by the state for these types of behavior. The same treatments by the YCOs from the state were also revealed in 2005. The state, too, neglected to properly investigate reported abuses. For example, in the 2005 U.S. DOJ report, it identifies 37 incidences where facility documents identified physical contact between a staff member and youth that led to an injury suffered by the youth. Not a single one of these incidences had been investigated. As a result, wards felt powerless to complain about the abuses made towards them. HYCF's history consists of multiple decades of inappropriate practices and policies that allow excessive use of force on wards by staff to be perpetuated by poorly trained and supervised staff. Despite numerous independent investigations, state audits, and successful lawsuits, the state has shown an inexplicable inability to develop policies and procedures for proper staff training and oversight. As a result, issues such as abuse and neglect have been the key components in the culture amongst the custodial staff of the HYCF. For more information, stay tuned for upcoming educational materials about Hawaii's juvenile justice reform.